Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Nike KD 16. So of course this is Kevin Durant's 16th signature shoe with Nike, and this colorway, this shoe pretty much just dropped, and if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave an affiliate link in the description box. It does retail for $160, which sucks because they did increase the price by $10 from the KD 15, right? But again, affiliate links will be in the description box. But let's get started right off with the Tracciones. And in this colorway, we have pretty much a fully translucent outsole. Kind of around the perimeter of the outsole, we have a solid rubber and kind of looks like herringbone, right? But as far as the traction pattern goes, where the translucent rubber is, we have gears. It's kind of like gears from a clock, which is pretty cool. But yeah, as far as the traction performance goes, obviously I haven't played in them yet, but just on my wood floors, it seems to be biting not so good, you know what I mean? So from like the KD 13, 14, and then 15, they were top tier tractions, amazing bites, and they were always in like the top 10 track or best tractions for that year, like the list, right? But the KD 16 just isn't feeling that good. You know what I mean? It's kind of sad, just because, I mean, it's been so good for so long. And then the KD 16, I got these in, just trying it on my wood floors. The bite just doesn't seem that good, right? But obviously, we don't know yet. It's just from my first impressions. Maybe, you know, I keep playing in it, it breaks in very nicely and starts to get really good. It's just right now on my wood floors, it doesn't seem like it has an amazing bite, right? As far as the dust pickup goes, it does seem to have a good amount of grooves, and the grooves are pretty close together, so hopefully it doesn't pick up and trap too much dust and debris or dirt inside of these grooves. But right now it doesn't seem like it's picking up too much dust or anything like that. It doesn't feel like it's like too sticky just from like, you know, dust and like dog hair on my floors. But yeah, we'll have to see on dust performance. And as far as the durability goes, durability actually seems kind of good. The rubber is very hard. We do have a lot of grooves as well. So yeah, I feel like durability, like it should be good if you're going to be playing on an outdoor court. But yeah, as far as the overall performance goes, from my first impressions, the traction just doesn't seem that good, right? And now moving on to the heel to toe transition, overall it does feel pretty smooth, right? So here in the heel, we do have a nice rounded shape and pretty much fully exposed foam midsoles. So it does have good compression here in the heel and feels nice and smooth. And then here in the forefoot, we have a nice curved shape and a little bit of forefoot flex, right? So it does flex a little bit, but it does have a nice kind of springiness to it because of this kind of midfoot shank plate, but it does extend here into the forefoot a little bit, right? So as you guys can see from this translucent also, it's exposed here as far as the plastic goes in the midfoot, but this red part extends all the way here into the forefoot, giving you that kind of springiness, right? So of course, if it was like carbon fiber or something like that, that would be a little bit better, but plastic also isn't that bad. Torsion support seems good as well, but I still like how there is a little bit of flex here in the forefoot, so that does feel nice too. So overall, heel to toe transition does feel pretty damn nice. And now moving on to the cushioning setup. So the cushioning, okay, so I was reading the tech specs for the KD 16 and it's pretty hilarious, right? So it says here in the tech specs, KD loved the 15s, right? The KD 15 underfoot experience, which is weird because the KD 15 had full-length zoom stroll. So it says, so we took inspiration from the previous iteration that added a bottom-loaded forefoot zoom air unit for extra pop and snappiness when the game hits high speed. So KD loved the KD 15s, which has full-length zoom stroll, but then the KD 16, since he loved the KD 15 so much, we put a bottom-loaded zoom unit in the forefoot? Like what? That makes no sense, you know what I mean? And how does a bottom-loaded forefoot zoom air unit have extra pop and snappiness compared to a full-length zoom stroll unit? You know what I mean? That's kind of weird. And then it says cushiony foam adds a soft, comfortable sensation. So it doesn't say anything about what the foam is, right? But I'm guessing the foam is probably just a cushion line, but it is actually pretty soft and it does have a nice little compression, especially here in the heel. It's not super caged or anything like that either. So that does feel nice. The actual foam does compress a good amount. And then also here in the heel, right? The heel, we have an Air Strobo unit, right? And that does feel super nice. I'm actually a huge fan of Air Strobo just because Zoom Strobo, it's super bouncy, right? There's a lot of compression, there's a lot of PSI in it. So when you wear it for a good amount of time, it does hurt my feet a little bit. But of course, Zoom Strobo does feel pretty damn nice, but Air Strobo is a little bit softer, right? And then when you're walking around, it's very, very soft for stepping comfort and underfoot cushioning. However, once you start, jogging, once you start playing basketball, when you land a little bit harder, the Air unit gets a little bit bouncier, which does feel pretty damn nice. So I'm a pretty big fan of that, right? That does feel nice. Obviously, if you like a little bit more PSI, a little bit more bounce, Zoom Strobo will be better. But I'm not mad at the Air Strobo unit, right? As far as the insole goes, the insole is actually pretty damn nice. It has a little bit of foam to it. There is a good amount of give to it as well, and it's also kind of thick. So step and comfort is actually improved because of the insole as well. And then if you look in the forefoot, of course, we have a regular strobo board, and then of course the bottom loaded Zoom unit. Can't really feel a whole lot of bounce. I can feel just a tiny bit here in the forefoot, just like walking around from my first impressions. Hopefully it breaks in and I can start to feel the Zoom unit a little bit more, but we'll have to see on how it breaks in, right? Core feel seems, average, nothing terrible and nothing amazing for core feel, but it feels pretty nice. But yeah, it's just pretty funny how they were like, KD loved the 15s with the full length Zoom strobo unit, so we tried to make it the same and gave him a totally different cushioning setup, which is pretty funny. But they've been using full length Zoom strobo for the past what? So the KD 12, 13, 14, and 15 had full length Zoom strobo, so I guess it is nice that they switched it up. But yeah, I'm liking how it feels so far. It's just the forefoot feels a little underwhelming right now, right? So there is the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the materials, so we pretty much have they're saying it's a multi-layered mesh, but it's pretty much a mesh material, right? And it's actually quite soft. It's not super duper soft. It feels like there is like an underlaying material that does add a little bit of support. But yeah, it does feel supportive and it does feel overall pretty thin. And then of course around the tip of the toe and also kind of going around the entire kind of shoe, right? We have this kind of like nubuck material. It's like this synthetic material, right? It gives you better support and also durability when you're doing toe drags too. And then here on the lateral and also on the medial side, we have these plastic wings, or kind of like shark fins, it actually looks like to me. For, of course, better support as well. And then for the tongue feels pretty nicely padded. That feels nice on top of your foot. And then it's also a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. Here in the ankle area, I would say there's an average amount of padding. It's not too crazy, but it's also not super minimal. It actually feels pretty cozy here in the back of the shoe. So overall, I mean, on foot, it does feel pretty damn nice. I'm not too mad at it, but for 160 bucks, the material quality definitely isn't the greatest, especially with this kind of like synthetic material, like overlays, and also the mesh material isn't the best, right? And also, I don't really like the pattern on. What is this pattern? You know what I mean? Not a huge fan of that, but overall, it feels pretty damn nice on foot, right? Now moving on to the fit. So Nike has been fitting pretty short for me lately, so I've been going up half a size for all of my shoes that I get from Nike, and I went up half a size for the KD 16, and it fits me pretty much like a glove, right? So my toes go pretty much right to the edge of the shoe, right? Going up half a size, and also in the toe box, it's freaking snug, so I like that as well. And then width-wise, it's very, very narrow, especially here in the tip of the toe. Look at that. Look at how narrow it is right here, right? So if you want a super snug fit, then go up half a size. If you want a really, really, really snug fit, then go true to size, but just really be careful on that. So for most people, I would suggest going up half a size if you do want a snug fit. If you want kind of a little bit roomier, then I guess probably go up a full size. And then if you have a really wide foot or you want a really roomy fit, probably go up a size and a half, right? But yeah, I went up half a size and it fits me very, very well. And now moving on to the support and lockdown. So as far as lateral containment goes, I feel like it'll be pretty good, right? So here in the forefoot, we do have the synthetic overlay, like I said. And there's no really like lateral counter, like no plastic or anything, but I feel like that does add a little bit of support, right? And then here in the midfoot, of course, we do have the foam coming up and also this plastic kind of shark fin thing. And then here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment feels like it's gonna be very good. And also lateral stability, we do have a little bit of an outrigger going on. It does protrude out a little bit. So lateral stability feels like it's gonna be pretty good as well. And now moving on to the weight of the shoe, I'm actually pretty curious. It feels maybe like average weight. I'm guessing like 12-13 ounces. Yeah, 13.2 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 13.35 ounces. So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So it's just a tiny bit heavier than normal. But yeah, I mean, I guess, I wonder where the extra weight is coming from. But yeah, as far as the overall weight goes and how the overall shoe feels as well, it feels pretty normal. It doesn't feel super minimal, it doesn't feel super light, but also it doesn't feel super bulky and super heavy, right? It just feels like a pretty average weight and an average kind of like a bulkiness, you know? So there is the weight there. Moving on to the aesthetics, I mean, I like it. I actually really like this colorway. You know, I do love the gold swoosh. We have a small swoosh though, right here on the lateral and also on the medial side. It also says easy here in the heel, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this overall colorway, right? We have this, it's kind of like off-white. Everything else is off-white, like the laces, the lining. And then for the actual upper, we have like this maroon color, and then we have some pretty cool gold accents. So yeah, the overall colorway is really dope. But as far as the overall silhouette goes, I feel like it looks all right. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, honestly, I feel like the cushion is a little bit of a downgrade because I can't really feel the forefoot zoom as much. And also the traction is feeling a little disappointing as well, just from my first impressions, right? All of that can change, of course, when I break it in and actually play in it. But right now, from my first impressions, it is a little underwhelming and it's a little bit disappointing, I would say. It doesn't feel terrible though, but just a little disappointing comparing to like his older shoes, like the 13, 14, 15, which were amazing performers. But that about concludes my first impressions look on the Nike KD16. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave the affiliate link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.